Welcome back to the Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur Podcast. It's your host, Cassandra Rosa. I'm a certified life coach and healer, an intuitive business coach, and the mission behind all that I do is to help you to create a fulfilling life and business. Today, I'm really excited to have a shamanic priestess on the podcast. Her name is Natalie Seibel, and she's going to be sharing how to access the Akashic records. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm so excited to have a dear friend and soul sister of mine on the podcast today. I'm so excited to introduce you to Natalie. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited to have you back on the podcast in this new form today to talk about all things Akashic records.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Yes.
I could talk about this all day long.
I love it. I love it. I know you're passionate about all that you do. And Natalie and I have known each other for a long time now. I want to say at least 5 years, maybe even like 7 years. We met at a personal development seminar series in the States and have been in contact consistently. I would say one of the most consistent check-ins that I've had with someone from that series of courses. And I value our friendship. I value all of our exchanges of all of our knowledge and wisdom and know-how. And I'm so grateful for you in my life. And I'm excited for all the audience to get to know you and get a little glimpse of your passion and your service that you do for the world.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking about, I think it's like 2017 was when we
Mhm.
met. And I really enjoyed like just watching your journey and watching how you've grown and like our connection and the ways that we've grown together and have very similar experiences, even though they're different. It's like we're kind of on this similar path, and really appreciated our connection and how we support each other.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I want to open up the stage for you to introduce yourself for all the people that haven't crossed your path just yet about what you do and how you're serving the world right now.
Oh, okay. So, my name's Natalie Seibel. I am a spiritual mentor. I consider myself a shamanic priestess. I'm also a Reiki master. I am a licensed therapist. I do that kind of during the day. It's my day job as a mental health therapist. And then I have my spiritual business, Lightwork Coaching, that where I spend majority of my time engaging in energy work with my clients. So doing a lot of Akashic record readings, a lot of inner child healing, chakra clearing, past lives, ancestors. It's a really big passion of mine is helping people to connect to their truth, connect to their wisdom, remember who they are, clear out and dissolve the things that, they bring into this life that aren't serving them anymore, finding ways, gaining clarity, finding ways to, get where they want to go, the dreams that are percolating through them to be able to also have, because I find it in my Akashic records, particularly, I find that there is this action oriented, like, here are some things that you can do. So I really, really love that.
Yes, I love your mix, which I can relate to with my business too, of like the spiritual woo woo, all those beautiful tools, but then the practicality and the
Mhm.
experiences that will allow you to integrate all the lessons and make the shifts. And I have had many sessions with Natalie, and I can be a testament to how powerful her sessions are and all the divine wisdom that channels through her. So, with that being said, with this podcast, I always ask all my guests what fulfillment means to you.
Mm, I love that word. I'm gonna let spirit move through me. Um, for me, fulfillment is really being who we are, to our fullest, um, unapologetically, really honoring ourselves, honoring our truth. Not just, yes, it's the being, but it is also the doing, right? Where we are walking in alignment with our soul path and really listening to our truth, listening to our wisdom. We are so used to and trained and programmed to external validation and expert opinions outside of us and trying to seek happiness out there.
Mhm.
And happiness is really cultivated within. And so the fulfillment has a lot to do with, are you really allowing yourself to be you? Are you allowing yourself to listen to your own guidance and take action in what you want, regardless of what other people or other experiences are outside of you?
I love what stands out in that response that I really have taken away from that little thing that you said, which was so big and so vast at the same time, is like the listening and the being and the doing and how it's all important. Because you can listen to what fulfillment will look like for you in terms of daydreams, right? Like everybody, I'm sure everybody on this planet has some sort of daydream that they want to achieve. And hearing it and daydreaming about it at your 9 to 5 or in your life is one thing. But then being that person that is fulfilled and allowing that to fill you up and you feel it through your body is another thing. But then taking the actions, I think, is such a huge part of it. So I love that explanation. And I want to know, with all that you're doing with your clients, with your light work coaching, what is the most fulfilling part of this work that you are doing right now?
I really believe in the work that I do, that though you could consider me a healer, I don't actually heal anybody. It's not really like, that's, at least that, from my perspective, that's not what I do. And that's not what healers do. That I heal myself, and then I can guide others in how they can heal themselves. So when I'm accessing someone's Akashic records, yes, I have channeled messages that come through, and yes, I have images, and I will provide information, and I'll provide support. And also too, there's a lot of co-creation. There's a lot of participation, and here's something that I'm being, told would be good for you to do right now. Whatever energetic healing it is. I'm very big on teaching like how you do it yourself. I don't want anybody beholden to me or anyone to feel like they need me in order to get where they're going. But yet we all need help, right? And so I think what's most fulfilling for me is the healing that I do for myself, that I then can share with others, and like can literally watch. Like when I have a session with someone, they come in and I'm checking in with them about like, what are you currently noticing? What sensations are coming up? What feelings are occurring for you? And then by the end of the session, within like an hour, hour and a half, it's completely shifted. And it's just that awareness of like, wow, like this is real. This matters. This means something. Like, and the goosebumps, I love that sensation. So
Yeah.
when I had that the aha moment and that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I did this for myself. That empowering feeling. Like I think that's the most fulfilling for me.
I love that. And I can be a testament for that. And having a session with you, the most recent one that we've had, which was amazing. We tapped into and channeled this whole like Lemurian essence in time, which was beautiful. And what I loved is you gave like the practical tools, like, hey, this is what I've done for me. That is like come from Natalie, like the tried and true things that you physically have experienced, but also how like you almost like stepped aside and did the channeling and allowed it to be this collaborative spiritual experience. So that's what I really appreciate about having sessions with you, is like it's like the perfect mix of like the channeled wisdom, and then there's like, hey, let me guide you through what's worked for me so that you can apply it in your life, which I think is beautiful and rare and so powerful. And I think that's why me personally have had like enormous breakthroughs with you in your sessions, because of that collaborative experience. But with that being said, for people that are like Akashic records, like what is that? Do you want to speak to what that is and what are the benefits of connecting with and accessing your own Akashic records?
Yeah. So there's definitely things online. You can, definitely Google it. And there are, though, a lot of people who say different things, and there is a general understanding of what the Akashic records are, and then people have their different experiences. And then, so I just want to be clear that there's no one way and there's no one right way regarding connecting to your records, what comes through in the records, what they are, how they are. But basically, the Akashic records, it's an energetic, I want to call it dimension. It's some people call it a library, where it is all the information that your soul has experienced. So you could consider it like a library. Some people actually experience like a building and like files and shelves and drawers. I don't always experience it that way, but it's all the wisdom of your soul. So past lives, future lives, other dimension lives, any information about your ancestors and particularly connected to your soul. There are people who will talk about like the Akashic records keepers. A lot of people believe that the Palladians are like in charge of the Akashic records. Some people will say that they reside in the 5th dimension. I have had more experience of them being in the 12th dimension. And what else could I say about the Akashic records? Yeah, it's all the wisdom, all the experiences. It's almost like it's a record of all the things that are specifically about your soul and your soul's journey.
Yeah.
Benefits, lots. The thing that I focus on the most with people has a lot to do with moving energy. So whether or not that is, something that's occurred in a past life that is still occurring today, or that we because if you think about it, like our soul has all the wisdom already coming through in any given life, and the body keeps the score. So when it comes to any experiences we've had, particularly if they are traumatic or if they are upsetting or causing some harm in some way, it leaves a mark. And sometimes we can have experiences where it's like, I don't know why I keep doing this thing. I don't know why this keeps happening. And we get into the whole, like, what is wrong with me? And what am I doing wrong? And like, why do I feel blocked? Why does this not change? Even though I make all these changes, nothing's happening. And sometimes it's not in this life. It's not in what you're currently experiencing. It is from something that you have brought in with you, whether or not that is a past life, whether or not that is your ancestors. A lot of money issues shows up. And I remember doing a clearing for myself 37 generations back. And like a lot of like experiences in my lineage around like bankruptcy and around like the fear of losing and the not having enough. And so that even when I do like mindset work in this life, like there's this energy that's just like showing up that I can't shake. And so when I did the clearing, it was, excuse me, it was a lot around like, oh, this isn't even mine. Like I just brought it through in this life because it's in my DNA from my lineage. And then inner child experiences, right? When we're little and we have wounding, whether or not it is what we call big T trauma, which is a lot of the more physical abuse kind of experiences, or whether or not it's little T trauma, where it might just be, beliefs that you learned, or just the way you were raised, where maybe it doesn't seem like that should be a big deal, but yet what's the underlying beliefs around your worthiness, right? And whether or not you feel good enough or whether or not you feel deserving. And so I do a lot of inner child healing in the Akashic records too, because what I find energetically is that we don't often realize, especially when we're adults, the ways that we're triggered and how that is oftentimes related to something happened earlier in this life. So it isn't always about past lives or ancestors. It can be about the things that have occurred in this life and gaining wisdom from your soul, gaining wisdom from the guides that show up in your records. And I do a lot of healing, a lot of journeying. A lot of different tools show up as energetic tools as a way to help clear things or complete contracts or soul retrieval kind of things. Like it's I find that it isn't so much like you have a session and then, oh, okay, everything's healed, everything's cured. But the thing that I hear the most often is the lightness, the clarity, the feeling of like a weight's been lifted, or now I understand and now I have some additional tools that I can utilize in this life. There's a shift in our believing in ourselves, our trusting ourselves, tapping more into our intuition, being able to make decisions that are more in alignment with what we want. I could, like I said, I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to pause.
No, it's good. It's good. And I really want to speak to my experience that I had with you. I remember it was a while ago. I think this is almost a couple of years ago. We had an Akashic record reading. And for me, it was kind of like Harry Potter, like that image of all the books, and all the knowledge. And there was lots of different past life and inner child things that we accessed. And it was almost like appearing to me, almost like storybooks of like, okay, here's the storybook inside it, like a picture book of like the inner child stuff. And this was like the image of how everything came through. And I can agree with the lightness, but something that I really took away and understood from learning from you about accessing the Akashic records is like the self-awareness. Because sometimes you're like, this loop, this pattern, it just keeps going and going and going. And it's like, well, this is maybe where it's from. Because when loops and patterns happen, and people are spiritually aware, it's like, why is this happening? Like, I thought I cleared this before. And having that level of awareness and understanding helps with that weight coming off of being, okay, this is why, and you can unpack it deeper, which is amazing. And something else I want to speak to, and what I've understood from you too, and you explaining it, is like a tool to access the knowledge within you. Because sometimes in spiritual tool boxes that are established for people, it can be an outside validation or an outside understanding of like, well, go to your pendulum and see what your pendulum says, right? Versus this, it's like a beautiful way to tap into the wisdom within you and experiencing that. And I know that you teach people to access their own versus reading and guiding for other people, which I think is beautiful. And do you want to speak to people that are resonating with this, being like, I want to access my own past lives and my ancestors and my inner child, and I want to have this understanding for myself? Do you want to speak to where someone should start if they want to learn and tap into their Akashic records?
Yeah. So there are a lot of people out there who do Akashic record readings or do Akashic record courses. There's a really great book that is kind of a basics. It's called How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe, Howe. That's usually where I encourage people to, like, if you want just like a basic, like, I don't really want a course. I don't really want to like meet with anybody yet. I just want to kind of understand more. That's a really great place to start. She walks you through like what they are and the different things that can be accessed. She provides like a way to open them. It is very specific to like how she sees things. And so that's why I'm very particular around there's no one way. So she does give what we call a prayer to open the records. And in my journey, when I first started, and oftentimes what I will tell people is, if it's coming up for you, like if you like, wow, I'm hearing it over here and I'm hearing it over here and I keep hearing it and I keep seeing it, like oftentimes that spirit saying like, hey, it's time for you to remember. So if, someone's listening to this podcast and like, I don't know what this is and I'm not interested in it, then like, that's okay. Right. But if it is a feeling of, I'm listening to this podcast, this is the 5th time that I've heard the term Akasha records, this may be the spirit like attempting to get your attention. And so this happened for me, happened for me with Reiki. I kept hearing Reiki. I kept seeing different things about Reiki. And I was like, okay, I think I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go learn Reiki. The same thing happened with the Akashic Records. I kept hearing it. I kept it kept popping up on social media. And I had a colleague that did Akashic Record readings, and I messaged her. I was like, I think I'm supposed to learn, and I think you're supposed to teach me. And she's like, that's so funny because I'm putting together a program. So,
Perfect.
it's just oh, synchronicities, right? So she had suggested the book. And so I started with the book, and then she had this group program. And I didn't resonate with Linda Howe. I did not resonate with her prayer. It
Mhm.
did nothing for me. But then my friend, the prayer that she uses, that worked for me,
Mhm.
until I had spirit give me my own prayer. And so that's something that I also work people on, is that I want to give you lots of options, so that when there's not one way to open the records, but that know that eventually you'll have your own way of opening them.
Hmm.
Um, so the book's a great place to start. There are lots of courses out there with people who do group programs, or will do evergreen kind of recorded things. The way that I'm doing it right now, the way that Spirit wants me to do it right now, is one-on-one. And it's 4 sessions where it's a quick deep dive. It is it's intense, kind of intense, but it's meant to get you what you need, and do so in a very concise way. So every session is structured in terms of, what we do the first session, what we do the second session, third, fourth. And I provide ongoing support in between. But that's an option that I'm offering right now. It's I meant to do more intimate work, and though I could do it as a group, it feels like right now what Spirit's leading me to is really one-on-one, and spending time and really connecting. But there are, if you go on Instagram, Facebook, there's lots of people who are teaching across Akashic Record courses. So there's a lot available out there.
Awesome. So I guess if you're wanting to explore it, lead into that curiosity, check out the book. We'll leave a link in the show notes so it's easy for you to check it out. Check
Yeah,
out doing a reading, Akashic reading, maybe to get your feet wet. And then
yeah.
if you resonate with Natalie and her energy, reach out for her offering so that you can learn how to tap into your own, and then you'll be able to pass the baton and help other people do the same if that's what you feel called. And where can they connect with you to take part in the program, to connect with you on social media, to see what you're all about?
Yep. So probably the easiest would be Instagram. My handle is Lightwork Coaching. I have now verified myself.
Yeah.
And then my website too is www.lightworkcoaching.com. And then both will link to my Facebook profile. My last name is pronounced and spelled differently, so sometimes it's hard for to be able to say that and have people understand it. But the Instagram and my website, excuse me, getting tongue tied here. Instagram and my website link directly to Facebook if people want to connect with me there as well.
Perfect. And we'll leave all the links, even to Facebook. We'll just leave the link
Mhm.
in the show notes or on the description of this video. So it's easy for you to connect with Natalie and see what she's all about and all of her beautiful offerings. Any last words you want to share before we wrap up the conversation today?
Yeah, you had mentioned, also having your own session, right? And I think that can be really helpful too, is that if you're not sure what it is, you're like, I don't know that I want to read them yet, but I just want to have a session and see what it feels like.
Mhm.
Having, a lot of people offer single sessions. I do.
Mhm.
So, and that can be where, I am accessing your records, and I'm connecting to and supporting, kind of like what you and I have done before. Um, and then, but it's not required. If you're interested and you're like, I really want to know the Akashic records, but I don't really want my own session right now, that's totally okay too. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever this really is about believing and trusting in yourself, and really remembering your own your own divinity and your own wisdom.
I love that.
And kind of like, what I'm calling my program right now is Beyond Worthy. And so it really feels like that's the remembering, is that we are beyond worthy.
I love that. So good. Yeah, I guess the biggest takeaways, just to close off, is like leaning into that curiosity. If you feel like the Akashic Records is for you, lean into it. That beyond worthy concept is so beautiful. And that, we have that wisdom within us. And Akashic Records is a beautiful tool to allow us to tap into that and explore and have fun. It's a fun experience to explore and be lighthearted and also get that awareness that this tool really offers people. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always the best having conversations with you. I could be on here all day recording podcasts
Right?
with you.
This is so much fun. I really appreciate you having me with you.
Of course. We have to have you back again. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I'll upload a new video on Thursday. See you in the next one. Bye.